All right, Dayna, I was looking forward to this big time because I saw what you're all about and I said, this is going to be funny.
Yeah. That's what most people say about me. They take one look at me and they're like, "Yeah, she's probably funny."
She's probably funny. There's some comedy in there. Well, listen, it's a pleasure to have you on. And I got to talk about this trophy wife life deal going
Yeah.
on here. I bet most people, when they read it, they're like, wait a minute, what's this all about?
And I feel like I really screwed myself with the name of the show because I made this comedy podcast because I was doing a joke on myself. I had started doing these little videos and I was calling them Trophy Wife Life. And then it was,
Hmm.
like me finding milk under my couch 3 months later that is now turned to cheese and,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I got the joke, so I thought it would be hilarious. So I make a show called That Trophy Wife Life, and everybody else, they weren't in on the joke yet. So they
Yeah.
see That Trophy Wife Life and they're like, ugh, ew. I'm like, no, 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 I'm funny. I swear I'm funny.
Was it pretty negative at first? Did you get some people who were like really mean about it?
I still occasionally get people that
Mm.
are mean about it. And that's why I have to lead everything with like I had to change my name to Participation Trophy Wife so people
Mm.
would understand whenever I said, no, maybe it's a participation trophy. And but most people are they've given it a shot. Like our audience
Hmm.
has grown so much and shockingly, most of my audience is male.
Oh, really?
I know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, probably because I talk about buttholes and poop a lot, and so, like, most of my humor is that of a 14-year-old boy anyways, so I guess the
Yeah.
men relate with
Yeah.
that.
What's with the buttholes? Where is this coming from? Like, why is this talked about so much?
I don't really know. It's just like every conversation ends up like a poop story of some
Poop
sort.
story.
Like, my husband shits his pants a lot, so I had
Wait a
to
minute. Why? Like, why does he do that?
this was back whenever we didn't have kids yet.
Hmm.
And we would go to Vegas and head down a bottle of Jameson
Sure.
and he just doesn't have control of himself after that point. And so I have a lot of
Uh,
poop stories pre-children.
wow.
Yeah, of my husband shitting himself, which, they're funny. I'm like, "You had to go through that so I would have something to talk about now."
Right, exactly. I was just in Vegas like last weekend,
Oh,
actually.
yeah? You
Yeah.
didn't poop your pants though?
No, no, I did not poop my pants. I
Yeah,
don't, I
I think
don't,
you failed Vegas.
I don't know if you'd have seen me. I don't think you thought I failed. I'm like,
Okay. You just have much better control over yourself
I
than my
think my
husband does.
bowels are pretty amazing,
Yeah.
actually.
That's good news. Yeah, I don't think I've ever shit myself from drinking, but, yeah, my
Yeah.
husband, he's an endless well of content.
Now, did you ever piss yourself from drinking?
I have not.
Really?
I did talk about this on the show one time, though. I never peed myself. However, one time I did wake up wasted, like, stumble my way into the bathroom and sit down and forget to take my underwear off, and then I was like, "Whoop, that's warm."
It's very warm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but that happened one time, but I don't know if you can consider that, like, pissing yourself, though. I think that was
Mm.
I was just too drunk to remember I had underwear on. I made it to the toilet, I just forgot to take stuff off.
Well, that's the first part. You got to make it to the toilet.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yes,
Wow.
success.
Success. I read it was like 30% coffee, 75% wine or something like that, Sonia. I said,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
it's
100% bad at math.
I'm not great at math either. Why do you need to be good at math? I don't know. I'm like,
Dude, we all have calculators in our pockets
I
now. I
know.
mean, so I don't need math as much as they told me that I would.
Do you tell your kids that?
I I do actually. I'm like, because so for me, I don't put a whole lot of pressure on my children when it comes to schooling.
Yeah.
I want them to learn to do their work. I want them to learn to not be lazy. I want them to learn to complete their responsibilities and to do their best. But, my kid's like me. he's terrible at math. He hates math. It doesn't register in his
Yeah.
brain quite like it does for some other people. And so if he gets a B in math, I'm like, cool, excellent, great job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need you to be a straight A student. I don't give a shit if you know
Yeah.
physics, you know?
Kind
Like,
of the same way. But I have one child, not four
mhm.
like you, okay?
Yeah. Probably
And
smart.
no, well, you I mean, there's a lot of work going on regardless, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah. How old is your child?
My daughter is gonna be 10 in August.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great age, actually. I'm really enjoying
Yeah.
it, you know? But it's
No, they're
challenging.
like they're old enough now where they're a little self-sufficient, you know? Like
Yeah.
they're not waking you up at 6 a.m. for Cheerios.
Yeah.
That's
No,
nice.
no, that's I mean, sometimes my daughter wakes up early and I'm like, "Why are you doing this to me?" I'm
Yeah.
like,
I thought we grew past this.
"How could you do this to me? I don't want this."
Yeah.
It seems like you have a very, honest take on, being a mom and, being in a relationship, and you're just willing to be yourself, and I think that's why I connected with you, because I'm like, I don't know. I really don't want to talk to people who are like, I'm a thought leader and I'm doing all this. I'm like, let's just be real about it. You probably messed up a little
Yeah.
bit. Like,
Yeah, and that's so I don't know about you. For me, I felt a lot of pressure from my mom whenever I was growing up. I felt
mm,
like a failure for most of my life because of this unobtainable perfection level that
mm,
people wanted you to be. And it took a long time, many fuck ups, because at one point I was like, well, fuck it, I'm a fuck up already, so I might as well just
yeah,
keep fucking up, like.
right.
And so I kind of threw myself into the fact that I was gonna screw things up, and that wasn't the right message either. I
Yeah.
should, you know? So, many years of therapy later, I realized, like, yeah, you do your best with what
hmm
you have. And sometimes you're going to nail it, sometimes you're not. And that's okay, because there's not a single person out there that has nailed parenting, that has nailed life, that has everything figured out. And I think that it's just kind of a disservice to humanity to go
hmm
around and tell people that you have things figured out, because nobody does, you know?
you know what I think about parenting, especially is maybe this is different, but now I feel like people in the past, they make parenting seem like it's always amazing. Like
Uh-huh.
it's always incredible and this I mean, it is awesome, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of bad times too, man. I mean, there really is. Like,
Yes. Yeah. I was just saying the other day, I'm like, did you guys know that as your kids get bigger, the problems also get bigger? Like, did you know that? I didn't know that. Nobody fucking told me that whenever I
yeah.
had kids. I thought, like, oh, potty training is going to be the worst of it, and then I'm going to move on and
Yeah,
everything's going to be happy go lucky.
yeah,
But no, now you have peer pressure with teenagers and drugs and sex, and please don't knock
yeah.
that girl up, and please wrap it up so you
Oh
don't get
my gosh.
herpes. And, like, there's so many things that go into parenting that I guess I just didn't realize. And I'm like, "Oh my god, they're going to keep getting bigger." Then there's going to be times when they're out at the bar, I'm going to have to talk about, drunk driving and make sure they're not
Yeah,
doing stupid shit
yeah.
like that. And then they're going to get married, and I'm going to have to talk about abusive relationships. And like, there's so much stuff, and as these kids grow and grow and grow, all those problems grow and grow and grow.
Yeah, yeah. How old are your kids? Are they in teenage?
I do. Yeah, I have 2 teenagers. My 2 older boys are 15 and a half and 14 and a half.
Mhm.
And then my daughter just turned 6, and my youngest son is 4.
Okay, you got the whole range there, the whole
I
gamut.
do. Yeah, yeah, that was, I had kids really young. I was,
Mhm.
23 with Mason whenever I
Mhm.
had him, and 24 following 11 months, 25 days after Mason, I had
Yeah,
Kai.
yeah.
So, my little Irish twins.
Exactly. Do your sons listen to your show?
They depends on who's on, you know? Like, Carol Baskin was on my show, and they were like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna listen to
How
Carol
did she
Baskin."
by the way, how did you get Carol Baskin on your show? And what I mean, crazy.
Honestly, I asked. I
You know
just
what's
asked.
you know what's funny? I find that all the time with people. If you just ask, they're like, "Sure." I
Yeah,
mean, like,
Yeah, I had Liz Mealy on my show last week. I don't know if you know who she is, but she is a
No.
very funny stand-up comedian from New York City, and she has specials, and she's an author, and she's just I adore her, and I started following her last year. Um, During the pandemic, she was
Yeah.
posting clips of her comedy, and I was like, I just fell in love with this girl, and I reached out to her, and I think whenever she replied and said, "Yes, I'll come on your show," like, I made a noise that only dogs could hear. I was so excited
That's
to get
crazy.
her on the show. So,
Yeah,
yeah, just ask people.
you
I mean, I've
really
asked a
do.
lot of people that have said no or just
Sure.
never replied to me too, so
Yeah, that's amazing. So it depends on who's on, and they'll listen to it.
Yeah, yeah. So Liz Mealy, they were like, "Yeah, we'll listen to her," and Carol Baskin, they were like, "Yeah, we'll listen to her." But then there's like some other things. If I'm just talking about, I don't know, bad dates was my last episode. They didn't run to listen to that episode, but
Did they ever
they
comment on you, like what you're saying?
Um, so the good thing is that I think, teaching my children, they already know that I don't have a filter. And so there are times when they're like, "Oh my god, mother, why?
Yeah,
Why?"
yeah,
Uh, but for the most part, I'm also teaching them that, you don't have to filter what you're saying all the time. I do think that you need to maybe learn your audience and,
mhm.
and kind of adjust to that. But if you have something to say, it's okay to say it. And if it's unconventional or maybe people kind of give you a side eye, that's okay too. Because
Yeah,
there's going to be other people that are like, girl, you're crazy. I love it.
yeah. See, I like the craziness.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's like, I don't know what it is when somebody tell, like, seriously, when people listen to this and they read the show notes, it's going to stick out to you. And maybe it's going to hit you the right way, maybe it hit you a different way. I don't know, but it
Yeah.
really doesn't matter. Uh, but you
That's
know,
I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and I
yeah,
think learning that pretty early on is a good idea too. Some people are going to love me, some people are going to hate me, and whatever. I'm going to move on with my life, and it's going to be
yeah.
okay.
So what have you tell me about your favorite episode you've done for your shows so far that you like really loved?
Let's see here. So a couple weeks back, I had a comedian on. His name is Jeff Macalino,
Hmm.
and he is in Florida, I think. And he was great. He was so funny. I laughed the entire episode. And then there was these girls. They have the show called The Homance Chronicles,
Hmm.
and I did a sex fail story with them.
Hmm.
And it was so fun, so funny. I get home, I go to download the recordings. One of them didn't work. And I was like,
No.
no, because it was so fun. It was one of the funnest episodes that I had recorded, and it didn't go. And I was like, shit. So I'm actually re-recording with them this
Yeah.
week, which I'm stoked about because they were great.
Yeah. Have you found it challenging some episodes more than others to create chemistry or, just to build that,
Yeah, sometimes it is. Whenever I first started interviewing multiple different people instead of
Hmm.
having a regular co host, I was very nervous about that because I didn't know how people were going to be. And then I was like, well, I kind of hold the power here because I
Hmm.
got the editing. So
That's right.
if something, because there's some people that talk slower than others, and then there's me, and I go 100 million miles per minute, and I don't
Mhm.
really like to have a whole lot of like space in between
Okay.
what's being said. uh, but I have editing tools for that. If somebody's taking 17 hours to answer my question, I can just chop it up into what I want, and
Yeah.
then we got a show.
Yeah, I've had episodes where people will talk for 15, 20 minutes straight, like no breath based. I'm like, man, it's kind of long time to be talking.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes those people just like to hear themselves talk, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Okay."
It's like, wow. It's a process, of learning different people, who you want on your show and how that comes together.
Yeah, and it also gives you a lot of practice for dealing with everybody else that's out there in the world,
Yeah.
like getting people on your show and being able to hit those conversations with, you know, a person that maybe necessarily doesn't agree with you on certain topics,
Mm-hmm.
or just a person that you're having so much fun with, or a person that you have to adjust because they're a little more conservative than
Right.
you, or
Right.
there's so many different personality types out there. And I thought that I was going to be super nervous about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I rolled into it, I was like, no, this is actually great. This is fun being able to get out there and talk to so many different personality types. I actually love that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that too. I think it's actually an education. You're learning about a lot of different topics
Mm-hmm.
that it's hard to do just by, you know, kind of the way things are, so you're learning a lot. But I want to know favorite party story, because I know there's a party story in there, like amazing story.
Oh, party story. Okay, so my own party story, or a
Yeah,
or
for
a
sure.
story for
How about you? Let's get into Dana's favorite Dana party story.
Dana's had quite a run at partying. So I did, so whenever I had my kids in my 20s, but I also ended up splitting up with their father in my 20s. So
Mhm.
I had 50% of the time to go out and be crazy Dana, and then
Yeah.
50% of the time where I was, you know, the mom Dana. But I will always remember I'm a country girl. I line
Hmm.
dance, I two-step. I love my country
Nice.
bar. And I have like a whole family of friends that used to frequent the same bar as me. And me and my girlfriend went one night, and we were just doing shots of Patron, just
Mm.
down in Patron. And my other friend walked in. It's like 9 o'clock at night, and he says, "Hey, you guys want to go to Vegas?" And we were like, "Well, when?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Right now. Let's go. Let's get in the car. We're going to Vegas." And we were like, "Yep, let's go." And we happened to be talking to these two other guys that we were friends with. And we were like, "Hey, we're going to Vegas. You guys want to come to Vegas?" And they were like, "Yeah, let's go to Vegas." So we all hop in the car. We're
Wow.
5 hours away from
Oh
Vegas.
my gosh.
Yeah, we're in San Diego. We all hop in the car. We pack our shit. We get in the car. We drive to fucking Vegas. My girlfriend, I'm in the back seat with my two friends. My girlfriend's in the front seat. And all of a sudden, she rolls down the window and starts puking
This is
out of the
projectile.
window.
Yeah.
But the back window is open. So the puke is going
Oh
out the
my.
window here and then coming into the back seat.
Oh
And
no.
me and my three friends in the back seat getting sprayed with this girl's puke. It was really gross. But we made it to Vegas, and we spent the whole weekend partying in Vegas. It was one of the funnest trips that I have ever taken on a whim. On a whim.
Well, I mean, where'd you go to first though when you got there? Was it like immediate partying?
Um, no, actually, we got there. By the time we got there, it was like, I don't remember, like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh.
pretty late, and it was like everybody went to bed, and then we woke up and just immediately drinking, pool. And I had my boots. I forgot to bring other shoes. So I'm in a bikini with my cowboy boots on, walking around Vegas, which
Wow.
actually got a lot of attention.
I'm sure it got a ton of attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. I lived in Vegas for like 13 years, actually. That's why I go back a lot and
Oh,
stuff.
really?
Yeah, lots of crazy stories and like
Oh, I'm
party
sure.
times. Just it's when you go there, different things happen. I mean, just like extremely different things happen that wouldn't happen in your own town, probably. When you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, no, and you know what? That's one of my favorite things to do. I love traveling and
hmm.
meeting people. It is a wonder I haven't been murdered by
Oh
now,
my gosh.
because I'm like, "Hey, I met you in a bar. We're friends now. You and
Yeah,
me, we're besties."
yeah.
And oh gosh, I went to Arizona one time to visit a friend, and I'm sitting at the bar by myself because she broke her leg and ended up in the hospital. I'm just like hanging out by myself. I
Okay.
meet these two dudes. I'm wasted at the bar, and I was actually there to visit my ex-boyfriend at the time,
Uh-huh.
and he was working, so I was like
Yeah.
just like sitting there waiting. And these guys are like, "Hey, we're gonna go to roller derby. Do you want to go watch roller
Roller
derby with
derby.
us?"
That's amazing.
And I was like, fuck yeah, I want to go. And I just like hop in the car with these two dudes that I've never met before after I've been drinking all day. Like, not the smartest move that I probably could have made.
It's like a true
But I'm
crime
still,
documentary. You're making almost. Like,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I've pushed my limits several times. Like, thankfully, I have never been hurt or, anything bad happened to me. And I
yeah,
don't know, I got like a bubble of protection around me or something because
maybe.
I definitely should have probably been smarter about things that I've done as a single female after
Yeah.
drinking.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So does the partying decreased or increased as you've gotten older?
Oh, it is absolutely decreased so much. So much, especially with the pandemic. And,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, I still love to go out and like have my friends and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I'm 39 years old
Mhm.
now, and hangovers last weeks now. Like it's not a one day thing. I'm not like down for a day. I'm down for 4 days. And
Yeah.
so I've been very conscious about like what I'm drinking when I go out. Like if I'm going
Mhm.
out to a bar, I have to stick to beer, and if I'm going to do shots, it has to be Patron. I can't do anything else. If somebody hands me a fruity drink or a fruity shot, I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, I will die. I will not
Yeah.
do that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, I'm a beer and wine girl.
I see. Yeah. I changed a whole bunch actually. I still party pretty hard when I do, but I had to change the ratio. So I definitely always probably generally I was doing edible
Uh-huh.
because I feel it helps me to drink less.
Uh-huh.
Because so I'm only having like a couple drinks, but then I have an edible. It feels like I've been out partying all night.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
that, that's been what I flipped to. The ratio flipped tremendously once I got into my 40s. I was like, no, you're
Yeah.
not going to drink too much. Then you feel terrible.
Yeah.
Like, so-
And this is gonna sound so vain, but alcohol like isn't great for my skin. And I'm like, I'm trying to keep it like looking as good as I can for
it
as
looks
long as I can.
amazing. Your skin looks great.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can never tell you're drinking at all.
Yeah. I try and keep it to the weekends now, like my
Yeah,
wine
yeah.
consumption and stuff like that. But the thing that I've learned during the pandemic is fuck, I really like to stay home. Like
Really?
I love staying home now. Like I am totally happy sitting in front of the fire with my husband with a bottle of wine and a
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. It's nice.
Oh, it's been very nice. But now I'm vaccinated and I'm like, let's
Mhm.
party.
You're back. Yep, me too. I was like, yeah, go to Vegas, man. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we're going on vacation next week. And I'm like, I can't fucking wait. I'm like, let's
Oh,
go. I'm
wow.
ready. I'm ready.
You know what? You get very excited that first day. You can get
Yeah.
extremely excited. And that's when it goes overboard sometimes.
Yeah, it might. I might have a poop pants or a pants pooping
Oh
story
my
for you
God.
after we get back from vacation. I'm sure my husband's gonna go overboard at some
He's
point.
probably like, thanks for telling people about these stories about me. Like,
The best thing about my husband is he's like, if I did it, fair game.
sounds like a reasonable person.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, I don't make up lies about me, but yeah, if it happened, then yeah, then it happened. Like,
Don't make up lies. He's like, no, tell the truth, but
yeah.
don't make up lies. The truth, no matter what it is, you can tell.
Yes, yeah, yeah. He's like, as long as if he has a recollection of it, he's like, oh yeah, yeah, well, I did it. So, and that's kind of how I live my life too. I'm like, man, I did it. I guess. I mean, what are you gonna do? It's
Yeah.
out there now.
Where does the comedy come from? I mean, it seems like, you're really into comedy and just kind of being out there a bit. Where does that come from with you?
You know, I think because things were so strict, I guess, whenever
Mm-hmm.
I was growing up, like there wasn't a whole lot of room for mistakes and there wasn't a whole lot of room to laugh at yourself whenever you
Mm-hmm.
made mistakes. That as I got out of high school and stuff like that, I had a friend and she was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
She made fun of herself all the time, and people were drawn to her like
Mm.
flies on shit. Like she was just, everybody loved her. And I started kind of toying around with it. Whenever I was hanging out with her, I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm going to do that too. And I kind of mimicked her. I kind of stole it, I guess. It's like,
Mm.
I want to be like her. And I started just making fun of myself and
Yeah.
doing stuff like that. And I was like, man, I like this a whole lot more than beating myself up and like constantly like being angry with myself or mad at
Mm.
myself for making a mistake. It's much better when you bring it to light and you're like, "Meh, yeah, I made this mistake," and you laugh at it. Feels so much better than I made this mistake and I'm going to go cry about it.
Yeah. Did it attract more people towards you? And that did you get that?
I did, and that was the other thing. I had always had this, like, less than complex.
Mm.
I didn't feel like I was well liked whenever I was growing up, and it was all in my head. It wasn't anybody,
Yeah.
it was a me thing. It wasn't a anybody else thing. And, then whenever I was out and I was meeting new people and they would be laughing, it just felt good to make other people laugh. And
Yeah.
I felt like they enjoyed my company when I was around or when I was, telling jokes or just being myself. I felt like finally I could be myself. I could laugh at myself and I could enjoy myself. And other people seem to follow suit. Like
Yeah.
you put out a certain vibe, you're going to attract that vibe. And that's what I wanted to attract. I want to attract people that are funny, that can laugh at themselves and have a good time. And, I don't want to attract people that are like angry and miserable all the time.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of like a realization, like put out this vibe, you're gonna attract that vibe.
Yeah. Most definitely. So what do you think you've learned the most about yourself and your time on the planet so far?
Um, I think what I have learned the most is I am here to teach people and my children. Mostly I focus on my kids most of
Mhm.
the time. But, I think it's important to let people know that, nobody's ever perfect and to like, I'm raising these kids and, I mean, my son's 15 and a half, and busted him smoking pot. Well,
Mhm.
whenever I was busted smoking pot whenever I was growing up, I was made to feel like I was a terrible person.
Yeah.
Smoking pot doesn't make you a terrible person.
No.
You know, like and so busting my kid smoking pot, I'm like, "All right, listen, I know you're gonna try it. I get it. You're a teenager. Uh, but we also have to keep in mind that you are a growing, developing
Mhm.
person, and smoking pot is going to make things seem different in your head. Like
Yeah.
you tried pot, great, whatever. Don't be a pot head
Mhm.
and, like, you're growing and you need to, be responsible. Responsibilities first, but you doing this doesn't make you a terrible person. You're just a person that smoked pot. Everybody smokes pot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I think that my learning has been to, not expect perfection, to, raise my kids kind of the opposite of the way that I was raised, to have a lot of grace and compassion for other
Mhm.
people, I think is really important right now. There's so much divisiveness out there. And I
Yeah.
think understanding that everybody is doing the best they can with what they have and showing a lot of compassion to people. Um, I mean, over the last 5, 6 months, I've had two people commit suicide.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, one, was in December and one was just a week ago.
Mm.
I have another person that I was close with that during the pandemic, um, it killed his wife.
Jeez.
Yes, and I just feel like, there's so many people are dealing with so many things, and I
Yeah.
wonder if they were shown a little more compassion, a little more love, a little more grace, a little more understanding, if things could have worked out a little differently
Yeah.
than what they did.
Yeah. It's interesting what you're saying about having more compassion and also I like having fun. I always think that people are really attracted to people who feel like they're having a good time.
Mhm.
They're being their best self, whatever that means for them, for that. Whereas I think sometimes there's a shame of people like, well, I got to hide this part of myself.
Yeah.
Well, I can't show people that I like to go out and party and have a good time because what they'll think of me or something like that.
Yes. Yes, there's
And
so much judgment out
so much
there.
judgment, and I think, again, I think that I'm always drawn to people, especially on the podcast, who are like, just like, hey, this is how I am, man. This is what I'm into, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it is
Yeah,
what
and
it is.
I'm not even gonna say that I don't get self-conscious about it
Mhm.
sometimes. Like, I'm a human being, so, I still have my little downward spirals at time and, but I have learned now, like a couple of weeks ago, I was just going through it. I don't know what was going
Mhm.
on. I don't know if it was a fucking full moon or what was
Yeah.
happening, but I was just like emotionally in turmoil.
Mm.
And I looked at my husband and I said, "Honey, I'm gonna drink this bottle of wine and I'm gonna wallow in this for a
Mhm.
while. And then tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna be better. But
Yeah.
tonight, in this moment,
Yeah.
I'm gonna allow myself to wallow in this and I'm gonna be depressed. And so if you don't wanna see that, then you just go upstairs and
You don't
watch
wanna
whatever
see
you
that.
want."
Get out of here. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a down night, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. But recognizing it and being like, it's okay to sit in those feelings for a little bit. Don't
Yeah.
sit in them forever, but you're allowed to sit in them. If you want to
Yeah.
wallow a little bit, and then fucking put your big boy pants on and
Yeah.
move on. Take care of it.
Yeah, most definitely. You know what I'm thinking? What is this 40th birthday party gonna look like?
I'm going to Italy.
No.
Yeah. I've been saying it for
Wow.
a couple of years now. I was like, my 40th birthday, like, I really want to go to Italy. I don't know why Italy, probably because I like wine so much. I love
Yeah.
wine and I love pasta. So, and I am Italian as well.
Okay.
So I'm like, I really want to go to Italy. It's a trip that I've wanted to take forever. And so we've been saving up and we're taking the whole family to Italy, me, all the kids, and my husband, and a
Nice.
babysitter.
And a baby. You gotta be able to stretch your legs and get going, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow, that's gonna be an amazing time.
I
Like,
am very excited about it. I've been looking forward to it for so long. Oh, yeah, I can't wait.
I feel like you're the type of person, like, any, like, milestones or things, like, you go hard on the milestones. Like, you're like, "Yeah, this is a time to celebrate?"
I didn't always do that. And it
Mhm.
took some growing and learning for me to be like, yeah, celebrate that. I'm going to throw my mom under the bus real quick, but my
Throw her.
mom's 50th birthday, she disappeared.
Whoa.
Disappeared.
What do you
Didn't
mean? Like, just gone?
Gone. Nobody could contact her. She took herself to a hotel or something like that because she was so upset that she was turning 50.
Oh.
And so I didn't get to wish her a happy birthday on her 50th. None of my family got to. We didn't get to celebrate it. We didn't get, like, nothing. She just fucking disappeared.
Hmm.
And she's 61 or 62 now.
Yeah.
Her 60th birthday, she partied. She was like, all right, like, she's
Alright.
over it now. She's grown and she's learned from that experience.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also took from that experience because I was so upset that I wasn't even able to contact my own mother on her birthday, um, that I was like, no, every year that I get to be here, that I get to spend time with my family, that I get to grow with my children, that I get to witness the things that are happening on this earth, that I get to smell a fucking rose, or those are all really important, special things. And I'm going to celebrate it. I hit 40 years old. Fuck yeah, I hit 40 years old.
Yeah,
I hope I hit 110. Like, I want to keep going. I want to keep going. I want to keep
yeah.
experiencing. And life is ups and downs. And there's those really painful times and there's those
Most
really
definitely.
exciting times. I want to experience it all.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I just got a sense, I was like, "This is gonna be a great 40th birthday party." I know it. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, "What's that
Yeah.
gonna be like?"
I can't wait. I'm like, I want to shove all the food down my throat.
Yep,
I want to
yep.
drink all the wine. I want to hang out with my kids. I want to eat cake. I want to do it all. Like, I just want to enjoy everything because for me, I in particular love food. Like, food brings me happiness. I will for
Yeah.
real eat my feelings.
And what feelings are you eating the most these days?
Um, it's usually anxiety. I'm a high anxiety person. I have to
Really?
do, like, a lot of meditating to kind of
Mm.
bring myself down and,
Yeah,
like, take
yeah.
vitamins and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you get up pretty, and it's hard for you to. Is it hard for you to relax? Like really, just get in that
Um,
state?
it kind of can be. I have a hard time shutting it off at night,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially. My brain kind of goes 100 miles per minute. I'm
Mhm.
also a super empathic person. And so if there is something big that happens in the world that is sad, it'll knock me on my ass for a week, or
Mm.
longer. Like school
Yeah.
shootings,
Oh.
I just can't. I
Yeah.
internalize it. I have anxiety over it, and something that I'm trying to learn right now is to not detach myself from it, because I don't think that's the answer, but maybe compartmentalize a little bit better, and understand, like, I can go and visit those feelings and have them
Yeah.
for a little bit, but I also have to, live the rest of my life and not live it in fear.
Yeah.
And that's really hard, especially, living in the United States it's terrifying sometimes.
It can be, definitely. And I think during the pandemic, it's been rough for a lot of people, and they're turning to different sources of information. So how did you deal with that with during that, especially the kind of the peak moments of that time as you look back at it?
Um, I am a person that I'm a trust the experts person.
Hmm.
I am not an expert whenever it comes to viruses. I'm
Hmm.
not an expert on how viruses spread or anything like that. When Dr. Fauci went up there and he
Hmm.
said, I am an expert
Yeah.
and I believe that, wearing masks is going to help and
Yeah.
staying home is going to help. And I was like, "All right, that's what I'll do. I will stay home.
Yeah.
It's not gonna hurt me to do that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do what I can to protect other people." And so that's what I did. I was a trust the
Hmm.
experts kind of person.
Yeah.
I'm also a live in compassion and love kind of person, and I want to help the person next to me. And if me not going to get that latte at Starbucks means that somebody's aunt is gonna live through this year, I don't need a vanilla latte. Fuck that vanilla latte.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
will do what I need to do to help my neighbor. That's
Right.
how I try to live.
So you're saying you're not in QAnon, is what you're saying.
I not currently. No, no, my membership
Did
lapsed.
it lapse? Okay, when did it
No,
lapse? Was
no,
it
no,
like
no, never, never, never,
you're
never.
like, let's make this clear.
Yeah.
This was not a thing for me.
Yes, yes.
Like-
That was a joke that I told that was in poor taste.
Man, there's a lot of, dissenting opinions out there and wild stuff. Actually, I'm watching this crazy documentary right now about this cult, about this lady, Sherry Shriner. Anyways, it was like a cult about reptilian people.
Ooh,
And,
okay.
and I mean, it was crazy. It was like really loopy stuff. But it's amazing what happens to people when they get pulled into something. It's like a tractor beam.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that was easier during the pandemic for people because they have nothing going on, and you're like, oh, I'm just floating out there doing nothing. And if you're not productive and doing good things, you kind of get pulled into weird stuff.
And what really boggles my mind is how easy it is for people to get trapped into certain
Yes.
things. And they
Yes.
don't think that it's that easy. So then they're in it. Then they're in the cult,
You never
and
know until you're in it.
they drank the Kool-Aid, and everybody's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you just drank the Kool-Aid." And they're like,
Yeah.
"No, I didn't. What do you think, I'm dumb? I'm not that dumb. I don't get trapped into cults." And you're like, "No, no, no, but like you have a Kool-Aid ring around your lips right now. Like
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
absolutely in a cult."
You're in Fight Club. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy how easy it is for people to get trapped into stuff like that.
Did you have any like issues with like family members or people who had different ideas than you had, or friends?
Um, yes and no. I am also the kind of person that allows other people to have their own opinions.
Hmm.
And I'm not going to fault somebody for having their own opinions. I'm not, well, let me rephrase that. I'm not going to fight with somebody that has a different opinion than me,
Sure.
because I don't believe that we're going to make any progress that way.
Right.
For example, my older brother and I are on very opposite sides of the spectrum, and he will constantly try and bait me into a political argument.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I always reply to him with, I love you. I disagree, but I love you. And that's
yeah.
it. Like, I refuse to get into it because I
Yeah,
know my brother. I know what kind of a person he is. I love my brother and he has a different opinion than me. Okay, I get it. I don't think he's correct. But then again, he doesn't think I'm correct.
right.
I think, I'm still going to treat him with respect and love. And when he needs me, I'm going to be there. And, you know, but to respect me, do not try and bait me into a
Hmm.
political debate. Understand that we're different, accept that we're different, and respect our differences. And I think that's where a lot of people go south with it because nobody is respecting anybody else. They're just
Yeah,
like, no, you're fucking wrong. No, you're fucking wrong.
right.
And,
Just yelling at each other.
yeah. And how are we going to make any progress that way? There's
Yeah.
no conversation. There's no openness of the mind to even consider somebody else's opinion or belief or anything like that. And so I try and keep an open mind, uh, but I also try and keep it respectful. As long as I am
Yeah.
also being respected, I'll walk away from people that are just trying to fight
Hmm.
with me because there's no point in doing that. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I respect you. I'm going to take it over here.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever had anybody try to be on your show and you were like, man, maybe this is a little too far for me?
um, I really try and keep things so that whoever is listening to my show is going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so I don't really get into anything like that. And honestly, I have had a couple of people that, or a couple of instances where something political has been brought up.
Hmm.
And I'll cut it. If it's too
Yeah.
much, I'll just cut it because my show is for everybody. My show is an escape from all of that crazy political shit.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to divide amongst people. I want it to be a place where everybody can come and get a couple of laughs and move on with their day because in the end, my job isn't to try and convince somebody one way or another what they think or what they believe, or, when it comes to politics or religion or life choices or anything else. My job is not to judge anyone or push my own agenda onto people. Um, so I just keep that kind of separate from the show.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's interesting. I'd like to ask other podcasters stuff like that. If I think of it, just because I think the more you do it, the longer you're doing a podcast, you're going to run into some interesting things
Oh, yeah.
that
Yeah,
may or
for
may
sure.
not be, maybe too a little too out there or something. I had one guy come to me and he was like, Darian, this is gonna be the biggest episode ever if I'm on your show. We got to talk about the flat earth controversy. Is like the earth is flat, it's totally flat. It'll be your biggest show, I swear. And I was like, I was real nice about it. I said, listen,
Yeah.
I'm gonna respectfully decline. Thank you for reaching out, but I don't want to talk about the ice wall or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's not there. I'm sorry. But
I
anyways, I'm like,
I would have probably done the same thing if somebody
yeah,
reached
I don't
out to me
know.
and was like, "Let's talk about the flat earth." I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Mm,
Uh,
mm."
if you want to talk about mimosas, that's maybe a
Or
little
I'd show up with
different.
a globe and
Yeah.
just spin
You
it.
just start spinning it. Hey, this is round, This is, you notice this round?
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not gonna
That
fall
is
off.
awesome.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like I'm not doing it for this so-called, all these people, or oh yeah, let's just for this trappings of so many people will like listen to it. Yeah, because it's crazy. That's why they're gonna listen.
Yeah.
Like that's not what I'm going for, and like I just want to meet interesting people who are not crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just something about it. Sometimes you can you meet enough people, you're gonna get a few crazy ones in there,
Yes. Yeah, and I'll even say the opposite of that. There's been a couple of shows where people have asked me to come on, and I've been a little hesitant to do it because I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, I don't know if they're going to be, that kind of a person. But I have been really not surprised. I don't want to say that, but I guess a little surprised that I've gone on to some shows that I
yeah.
thought could end up a certain way, and everything has always been great. It's always ended up pretty good. So I guess I've been lucky in that aspect.
Do you feel like you have to like hold back on any appearances on shows, like you can't curse or or they tell you certain things?
I always try and ask. Sometimes I forget, but I'm a pretty cussy mom, and I feel like if anybody is asking me to come on to their show that they've already heard me.
Yeah,
And so I do try and remember to ask, like, "Hey, is it cool?" Because
yeah,
I don't want you bleeping your entire episode, you know?
yeah, yeah. No,
And I'll try if I'll be respectful when it comes to that. If they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're pretty conservative," I'll dial it back. It's not that big of
sure.
a deal to me. I don't have to like assert my aggression by being
Hmm.
like, "No, fuck you. I'm gonna be me." You know? I can be respectful. If they don't like cussing, I'm like, "All right, I'll try and
Yeah.
dial it back."
Yeah, I'm not sure why they'd want you on if you couldn't be yourself. More like,
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, but
I don't know.
I'm like,
Yeah,
I can be flexible, so
yeah. Well, you're definitely flexible for. I mean, anybody listening to this, I was gonna book Dana for way out because I always book people well in advance. I was like, hey, I got somebody changed. You want to do it? And she's like, yeah, sure. It was like a couple days ago. I
yeah.
reached out to you. It's
Here I
great.
am.
There you are for that. Well, Dana, please shout out all the stuff you're doing, where people can find you, the whole shebang.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have two comedy shows. My first one is That Trophy Wife Life. And you can go to thattrophyWifeLife.com and find everything there. And we're always accepting stories. We just did like the funniest worst dates or the sex fails episode
I
or
saw that. Listen to some of those. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they're really fun. And we're always reaching out on Twitter to find people's stories. We're always doing tweet calls like, hey, give us your stories. And then my other show is the Dirty Little Secrets Club. And this one's really fun. You can go to the dirtylittlesecretsclub.com and anonymously submit your dirty little secrets and then listen to the show and see if it made it. Some of it's really scandalous. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And then some of it's a little more mild, but we like that. You have a mild secret, we want those too, because, we can't be all about, sex and kinks and.
Why not?
Well, our last episode it was like a whole on kinks episode, and I was like, woo, it was hot.
Yeah. Actually, I have a lady coming on. I think it's in August, and you might want to talk to her. Actually, her name's Layla London,
Layla Lunda. Okay,
and
I'm writing this down.
she, I guess, was in this big, big sex drought for years, like no sex, very long time, and then decided, what am I doing? And then she's been on like this 5-year journey of like crazy sex, like all over the planet, like sexual tours, all this stuff. And she has a podcast. It's Curious Girls Diaries.
Ooh,
And it's
Layla.
very, very raunchy and the different stuff. Just great. I mean, it's actually really good. But yeah, she's great to talk to. We were just on like a pre-recording call, just chatting. She's like, you really want me on here? Like this, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. I was like, did you listen to my episodes? I have some crazy stuff. Seriously. I'm like,
I
I'm
love
good,
it.
man. Like, I'm not bashful about anything. No big deal.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just going to go on record really quick and say that I love the podcasting community.
Yeah.
Like what you just did there is so cool being like, "Hey, you know what else? This person might be great for your show." And
Yeah.
I love all of the love that goes around in the podcasting community. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for the recommendation.
Of course. I have
Love
tons of
it.
them, especially if you're looking for kind of like dirty secrets, sexual things, a lot of people for that.
Awesome. Yeah,
So,
send them all my way. I love it.
I'll send them your way. Yeah, definitely. Dana, thank you so much. It's been fun.
Yeah,
It's
this
been
was
fun.
awesome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I look forward to people to listen to this, and we will stay in touch for sure.
Yes.